So, let's take a look back at our recommended settings and change this to 0.15. And these are my ideal settings for this model. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to give it my name so that it's identifiable who made this. So in case something goes wrong, people can let me know. I'm going to give it a custom name. And I can add also how long it's going to take, 2 hours and 46 minutes. There. By the way, this time limit estimate here is definitely the most accurate one you will get. The ones on the machine is inaccurate. It will give you wrong settings and wrong information. Stick with the one in Cura. This one is mostly right most of the time. The exception being if you have multiple models, like this or a very large model, Cura struggles to incorporate travel. Like you see, there's a lot of travel in this model, and adding travel time to the total time, Cura struggles with that. So if you have multiple models, this is going to be a bit wrong. Keep that in mind. So, but let's delete this model and this one. So yeah, this one ready for print. But before we get it ready to print, let's screw it up some more. Let's make this some mistakes. First of all, this model, I'm happy with it. It's going to be great, but let's screw it up. If I rotate it, sometimes you might want to rotate it, but if I rotate it like this, say like I open it in like this, it looked like this when I got it from Thingiverse. You can see there's a lot of support, there's a lot of extra material. It adds a lot of time and a lot of cleaning work to get rid of all of this support. It's going to be a pain in the ass. So sometimes you might want to rotate your model. You might want to rotate it so that you can save time and material. So do keep that in mind. Rotation can be a very powerful tool. The other problem that I see this mistake a lot of people do is they put their model, because they have multiple models, they want to print as many parts as possible because they only have one printer at a time. They put their, since they have many of these, they spread them out and they get too close to the edge. Getting close to the edge is a problem, and let me tell you why. You see, when you take a model all the way to the edge here, what's going to happen? There are two things. There are two problems. First of all, the plate is heated, so the model will stick better. Out towards the edge, the plate will struggle to keep enough heat on the base of the model. It's way more powerful and effective in the center here. The further you get from the center, the more it's going to struggle with the heat. So the sticking to the plate is going to be a problem. This one is actually unable to slice because I'm a bit too close. I need to make sure, yeah, like that. There we go, you can see the shadow here, didn't touch that shadow. So that's going to be a problem. The second problem is calibration. If the machine has been poorly calibrated and this plate is off in the center, that mistake is going to be very small, but the further you get towards the edge, the larger this error is going to be, and it might cause your model to fail. So staying away from the edge is a good way to avoid failed models. If you're making, like, say you're making a lot of small gears, let's pretend this Pikachu is lots of small gears or something like that, and say, okay, we need a ton of these. Okay? Yes, I know you're struggling. Lots of models. And okay, we need to spread them out. We have a lot of these. Okay? This is a good way to get problems. This is a good way to get problems. Multiple models at the same time is very difficult for the machine. Not only due to the problems with positioning and that they're spread on different parts of the plate, some of them plate weaker, but also because the extra time it takes to travel means that it has much less time to add material on top of the old material before it hardens. It's basically left to dry. So this is another mistake I see a lot of people do. I don't get greedy. play it safe, it's way better to get your model completed without it failing than having your model fail 10, 15 times because you're being stubborn. Okay, but this is ready. We'll slice this example, and this is completely wrong from what we originally had, but that's fine. You can see the travel time here is added up a lot. But once we save it, we're going to have something called G-code. G-code is not reversible. You cannot open G-code into Cura, and you cannot edit G-code as a 3D model. G-code is a set of instructions for the machine in how it needs to move, and the heat levels and all that kind of stuff it needs to have to get the job done. It is not applied to a model in any way. It's just the instructions designed from the model. So do keep that in mind. Don't delete your original Pikachu here. The G-code, you can't just pick that up from the SD card, put it back in your machine and start or continue working on it. That's not an option. Okay, once that is done, we eject, if you have an external drive like an SD card, we just eject that and we can take it out and put it in the printer and we're ready. So yeah, that should be everything for now. I hope you learned some neat tricks and learned something new and feel ready and more confident starting with Ultimaker Cura. It's if you take a look here again at the custom setting, now the recommended settings, you can see it's very easy. Okay, there's very little to be afraid of in these settings, and you can get started very easily with 3D printing. So stick with the recommended, and once you get some experience and you feel ready, then you can go and look at the more advanced stuff. Okay, I hope that was good, and happy printing.